Hello everyone. Today we are talking about perpendicular lines. Two lines are considered to be perpendicular if they intersect at a right angle. And we know that right angles are 90 degrees. Also, the slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. Well, let's talk about what opposite reciprocal means. Here we have line 1 and line 2. That are drawn here on the graph, and we notice that we can see that these are perpendicular. They are at a right angle to each other. And we also notice here when we look at their slopes that the slope of line 1 is 5/4, and the slope of line 2 is negative 4/5. Well, that is what we call opposite, because one's positive and one's negative. Reciprocals, because what a lot of my students say is they're flipped. They're flipped over. Okay? You take what's on the numerator, put it on the denominator. What's on the denominator, put it on the numerator. And that is a reciprocal. Opposite is one is positive, one is negative. Let's do look at another example here. Here we have line 1 has the slope of 1/2. Well, opposite of positive would be negative. Flipping that over would be 2/1. But what is 2/1? That is just 2. So we have the opposite reciprocal of positive 1/2. The opposite would be negative, and the reciprocal would be 2. Another example here, line 1 on this example has the slope of negative 1/4. We know the slope is the number in front of the x when it's in slope-intercept form. This is our slope-intercept form when we have a number times x plus another number. Y equals a number times x plus another number. So m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. Okay, so we're looking at slopes here. The slope of line 1 is -4. The opposite of negative is positive. And if we were to flip 1/4 over, we would get 4/1, which we know can just be written as 4. All right, so now we have given here an equation, y equals -1/2 x plus 5. Let's go ahead and graph that. Our y-intercept is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start there. Our slope being -1/2, we know we go rise over run, which means the number on the numerator is how far up or down we go, and the number on the denominator is how far right and left we go. Since it's a negative, we know our slope is going to go downhill from left to right. So let's go down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. I like to draw lots of lines in here, dots in here, so that I can connect them when I draw. But on your assignment, you'll just want the 2, only 2. And we see that this is negative. If we had a little stick person on here, we're going left to right. We are going downhill. So we're going -1/2. X plus 5 is the equation of this line. We want to draw a line perpendicular to this line that goes through this point right here. Okay, 2, 1. So we're going to come over on the graph and graph the point 2, 1, which is right here. And I want to draw a line that's perpendicular. Well, we just said that a perpendicular line has an opposite reciprocal slope. So if our slope was -1/2 for this first line, oops, I'm going to put that one in red so I can keep these straight, -1/2, what is my opposite reciprocal to that? Well, the opposite would be positive. Reciprocal would be 2/1, which is the same as 2. So this perpendicular line, I'm going to start at this point that they gave me, 2, 1, and my slope is going to be 2, which we know is up 2 and over 1. Okay, to go backwards, you go down 2 and back 1 to draw that. And we are going to Connect those dots. And as we write the equation of this line, we know that our slope of this new perpendicular line is 2x, and the y-intercept is negative 1, 2, 3. So 2x minus 3. All right. And another example here. Oh, we're given a line. Let's write the equation of this line. Well, I like to look at where the y-intercept is here. It's 1, 2, it's right here at 3. So I know my y-intercept at the end, I'm going to be positive 3. But what is my slope? Where else do we cross here, this line? Oh, right here. We can also see that this is a negative slope, so I know it's going to be negative. And my rise over 1, I'm going up or down. I'm going down 2 and over 1. So that's negative 2 over 1x. And you know, when we simplify that, we just have that as negative 2x plus 3 is the equation of our line here. We want to draw a line that's perpendicular to this line and goes through point negative 2, 4, 2. So I'm going to go negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2. Right here is my point negative 4, 2. Well, I'm going to get a perpendicular line to this one up here. This red line here, my slope was negative 2. Well, what was my opposite reciprocal of that? Opposite would be positive. And then 2 is 2 over 1, so that could be 1 over 2. The opposite reciprocal of negative 2 is 1/2. So I knew my slope of this new line is going to be positive 1/2. So I'm going to go up 1 and over 2, up 1 and over 2. All right, so I draw this new line here, and this line is this blue line is perpendicular to the red line. And when I write the equation of this line, I know the slope is 1/2 x, and my y-intercept is 1, 2, 3, 4, positive 4. All right. Well, what happens when we don't have a graph? Well, we can use our point slope equation, which we've been using a lot. All right, we want to write the equation of a perpendicular line that goes through 5, 4. Well, we already have our point we know we want on here, 5 and, negative 4. It goes through point 5, negative 4. Well, perpendicular lines we know have opposite reciprocals of slopes. So here is the slope of the original line, negative 5. I want, what is the opposite reciprocal slope for my perpendicular line? Well, that opposite would be positive, and 1 over 5 would be the flipped over, because we know that this could be written over 1 like that. So our slope of this new line, this perpendicular line, is going to be 1/5. So we're going to go through now and simplify this equation here. We're going to do our distributive property, 1/5 times x. So y equals, I think I'll do it in blue here. Y equals 1/5 x. Now we have our 1/5 times negative 5. 1/5 times negative 5, that's like 5 over 1. Multiply numerators, multiply denominators. That's going to give us a negative 5 over 5. What is 5 over 5? Well, that is 1. So we have our negative 1 plus negative 4. So our simplified equation here is y equals 1/5 x minus 5 when we combine these two. All right, another example here. We have an equation, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 9. We want to write the equation of a perpendicular line that goes through 8 and negative 1. We're going to use our point slope equation. We already know the point we're going to use is 8 and negative 1. So the slope, we need to figure out the slope. Well, we want the slope of a line that's perpendicular to negative 2/3. So negative 2/3 was our original slope. We want the opposite reciprocal would be, opposite would be positive, and reciprocal would be 3 over 2. So this one's going to have our fraction here for our slope, 3 over 2. And we're going to work through this. Y equals 3/2 x. And then we know we can multiply numerators and denominators. So negative 24 over 2 and plus negative 1. Well, to get a common denominator, you can use your calculator, but to get a common denominator here, that would be, this is over 1. We want a common denominator. We're going to multiply top and bottom by 2. So we know that this fraction would be the same as negative 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is this, negative 2 over 2 is the same as negative 1. And negative 24 minus 2 is going to be negative 26 over 2. Okay, that can simplify down to negative 13. So our equation is 3/2 x. Y equals 3/2 x minus 13. All right, this is a level 4, but I'm actually going to show you and give you hints on this so you can work through it, because once you do this first step, you will do the same the rest of the way. Here we have an original line here, and then we want to find the line that's perpendicular to that line and goes through 3, negative 7. Well, on this perpendicular, this original line, we need to know what the slope is. And if you remember back from past units, in order to find the slope, we know we need to have it in the form y equals our slope times x plus our y-intercept. Okay, so we need to have it, we need to set it equal, we need to get this solved in terms of y. We need to solve for y. We need to get y by itself. So here, reminding you from past things, in order to get y by itself, y is being times by 2, and then we're adding with 6x. So we need to do the opposite of that backwards. We need to subtract 6x from both sides. And we know here that we'll be left with 2y equals 8 minus 6x. And we can know that y is being times by 2. So we need to divide everything by 2. Divide both sides by 2. And y is equal to, we're going to divide, this 2 goes into both of these. So it's going to be 4 minus 3x. Now, looking at this, is this in slope-intercept form? Slope-intercept form, we always had that x first. So I'm going to rewrite it. We keep the sign that's with it. 4, so we have the sign goes with it. So it's negative 3x. That's a positive 4. So we know this line, the slope of this line is negative 3. So the slope of the line is negative 3. What was the opposite reciprocal? For the new line we're going to draw will be positive, and it will be 1/3. And then you will have it go through the point 3, negative 7, and that will get you started on that problem. And I hope this helps, and have a great day.